Right, so that's us live, and straight as I hit that button, I realised that I always do the countdown, and I've not done the countdown. So
Oh no.
I'm a wee bit out of my element right now. So usually, if I
Would you like
remember
us to
back
do a
to,
live countdown now? We
oh
can
my God,
count
I think that'd be too
down
exciting for
from
me.
10.
Oh gosh, you're a wee bit jumpy for me, Malumir. I'm not sure
Oh,
whether it's my side or your side, but I'm sure the people in the chat will let us know at some point. You know, if one of our internets is, I think it might be me, to be honest with you, because my internet really hasn't been the best. But yeah, fingers crossed that I don't abandon you. And if I do, then rest assured I'll quickly be back on. Right, I can see from YouTube that
okay.
we've kind of appeared. So that's us definitely live now. So hi everyone, and hi Malumir. So thank you so much for joining me. Um, so what I'll do is I'll go down the chat. I'll say a quick hello to everyone that we've got here. So we've got Lily Valley. Um, Hi Lily, it's nice to see you again. We've got Nancy from A Crone's Intuition. We've of course got the lovely Malumir. We've got Stephanie. We've got Patrice. Hi, lovely Patrice. Regina, and we've got Deanne. Lovely Deanne, how are you? Um, let's see. We have got
Justin Michael.
Justin. Like, oh snap! Yeah, we've got Justin.
Sarah.
Oh yeah, there she's there. SL Wyman's rocking right. And hi Sarah, how are you? And oh, exciting! We've got to the bottom. So that actually wasn't too bad. A lot of the time, it takes me about 5 minutes to do this wee bit. So, to everyone who I've not said hello to, a collective, hello and welcome. And it's lovely to see you all. So as you can see, I'm joined by again. So I think this is the third time that we've been
I
live
think it
together,
is.
Malumir. Joined by our lovely Malumir, who, if anyone doesn't know, Malumir is the creatrix of the Chakra Healing Tarot, which we're going to be seeing a bit more from later on. So Malumir, just in case any of my, in case any of the people watching haven't met you before, do you want to briefly kind of introduce yourself?
Sure, sure. So my name is Malumir Logan. I am the creatrix of Chakra Healing Tarot, which it crowdfunded this past March, actually, which is very exciting, and actually have a fun little update about that too. And in addition to that, I'm also a Reiki master. I'm an experienced tarot reader, and I do all this on the side. I work full-time as a people leader. But in addition to that, I just in general really love people. I love tarot so much. I love all things spiritual. I love my ancestral work and my sacred practices and my cats and my husband and my cycling. And and I just create so many things. So I guess it's a very short snapshot about myself. But yeah, I guess that's just a short snapshot.
Amazing, thank you so much. So see if anyone's got just throughout it's the usual, it's the kind of a banter, it's the chit chat, do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
chat away to us, let us know what's happening with all yous. If anyone's got any questions or any comments that we urgently need to see, then please type them in capitals, or if you tag me at Elemental Cartomancy, or you could tag Malumir. The chances are she's going to see them better than I can, because as we've just
Because I'm
discussed,
wearing
I've
my
not,
glasses.
yeah, yeah, because I've not worn my glasses in like a month or something. But yeah, tag one of us, capital letters. That's the way to get our attention. So I can see that lovely Kay Thompson has just popped in at the bottom there. Hi Kay. She's asking how we're doing. So we're doing great, thank you, Kay.
Yep.
So with that said, so have you got a cup of Malumir? Have you got anything to drink there, or?
I'm drinking water because it has been very hot and humid in Toronto. Because I live in Toronto, Canada. It's been very hot and humid here. Today is a bit drier and a bit less hot, but I feel like I've just been consuming as much water as I can in the past week. It feels like no matter how much water I drink, I'm still thirsty. So yeah, so I have, it's a less exciting cuppa than I might otherwise, but.
Right, okay. I've got my standard cup of tea and my Simpsons mug today. I can't quite
Oh,
work out how
excellent.
to turn that. So no catastrophes today.
Oh, no catastrophes
So
today.
definitely Homer,
Although,
no
you know,
catastrophes.
from a neurological perspective, your brain only hears catastrophes today. Neurologically, our
Right,
brains
okay.
don't actually, like, we don't actually, that's why you should never say don't spill or don't trip, because your brain doesn't actually hear the negative. It only hears the trip and spill. So
Yeah,
generally, and this is actually like, you know, in spiritual practice or when you're intention setting or doing manifestation, you know, when people say, oh, make sure it's positive in what you do want, that's actually another reason why. It's not only that you're affirming to the universe what you want, but neurologically, you have to tell your brain what you actually want, not what you don't want. Because
yeah,
otherwise, your brain just keeps hearing the thing that you don't want. So,
yeah.
yeah. So apparently, catastrophes today.
Oh wow. Okay.
Chris is like, no, no.
Well, I'll keep that covered up because I don't want everyone. You just see Homer, Homer's happy face.
That's good. Homer and I are good.
Um, no, do you know that? I mean, I couldn't have like told you that as eloquently as you've just put it, but I have heard that before because I remember, and I was one of those people that was always like, "Oh, for God's sake," do you know what I mean? Like, well, the difference does it make? But it was in a work thing, and it was. I can't even remember what the purpose of it was. It was that long ago. We're going back years here, and they put together like a communication on. I think it was like the new purpose, you know, the new mission statement or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and I remember people were taking. So you probably all know that I work in insurance. So insurance, the whole point in insurance is about, you know, defying uncertainty. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's things that happen in the world that, you know, there's uncertainties in the world, and the point of insurance is to insure you against that. Do you know what I mean? It's to save you if something bad happens, right? That's the kind of a point of insurance. And to me, it's quite hard to define insurance without using that word uncertainty. But I remember someone was like, "Oh, you're using negative words," and I'm like, "Yeah, but that's what it is, you know." Like, what? And I remember thinking, why is such a big deal being made of this? But I suppose that's why. And I remember my friend saying to me, that was what it was. So
Well, I
yeah,
mean, you know, it's just all positioning, right? So like enhancing safety and security, right? In ensuring peace of mind. Although I like the way that you put it. I think you said defying uncertainty, and, you know, defying, that has a lot of strength behind it. And so that could, you know, that could work for some folks. Although talking about insurance, are you at all familiar with Ryan George? He's a Canadian who he created this brand for himself as a comedian on YouTube, and he's got quite a following now. And he does these videos on. First of all, he does these pitch meetings on, and it's like a really funny take on what must have happened in a pitch meeting for certain movies. Really, really funny. But he also does this the first time that anyone ever like ordered takeout or, you know, decided to swim or something like that. And so he did a video on the first time, you know, on the time someone invented insurance. You should check it out. It's really funny. You might appreciate it.
right, Ryan George.
Ryan George. Yeah.
Right, okay, I'll have a look. I've got something to quickly write that down.
And,
I
you
do
know, fellow Canadian. So,
definitely. Do you like my post-its, by the way?
oh, those are awesome. But where's the sticky part?
So it's in the middle. It's kind of across the
Oh,
centre.
clever.
So yeah, I'm quite keen on. I like these post-its.
That's
Um,
awesome.
right. Sorry, be with you in a sec. So Ryan
This is a
George.
priority.
Yep.
Ryan George. And
Very
also
important.
everyone in the chat, you should check out at some point. It is really funny. Not now though, because, you know, we're here.
We've got a comment from the lovely Lily. She says, "Congratulations to Malumir for your campaign on Kickstarter."
Thank
So
you.
definitely, because I mean, I suppose the last time we actually did this, was it just before the Kickstarter started, or was it just after it?
No, I think you're right. Because we did a couple, so I feel
Yeah,
like the last one was, I feel like it was right. You know what? It was the day before it launched. That was it.
right,
It was a day
right,
before it
okay.
launched, and I was nervous out of my mind because it's terrifying. It is so terrifying to put something on Kickstarter and to have no idea how people are going to react. It's, you pour your heart and soul into something for years, and it's like, I hope people love it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and
yeah.
that's right. So that was when we did the reading, and we finished up on, was it the Six of Wands we finished up on for like the kind of the outcome of it all? I remember
I
it was a
think
really
so.
positive card.
And there was the soul card. Remember the soul card that had like the instrument, and it was
Yeah,
like it was creating things for other people, like, and for the
yep,
musician. It was real. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. Because I remember because like it was an 11 card spread, and the final card is like the outcome card. It was pretty much the only future card because the rest of them were all kind of advice, and then there was this one future card, and I was like
I
shaking
know,
going to
it's
turn it
like
over. I was like, please don't be like the tower or something.
yeah,
But,
exactly, or
oh,
like the
thank
Nine of
goodness.
Swords or something.
Yeah. Oh gosh, could you imagine? But yeah, that turned out. So yeah, the whole the whole point, and what I was saying there was, like, I suppose a big congratulations is in order. I should
uh,
actually say it to you in person, because the campaign's now happened. It's now been
yeah,
successful,
yeah, yeah.
and it won't be long now until people start getting their decks shipped out, won't it not?
Yes, actually, I have a little bit of an update. So
Yeah, I
it's
need a new
not so.
poster.
I haven't even like posted it yet because it's like super 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 new update.
Oh,
Um,
exclusive.
so my latest update was that we were over half the way through the printing queue, right? Because like the printing companies, like they have these like long production lead times. So like even once you pay them the deposit, it's not like they start printing right away, right? Like just that just means that you're in the queue, but they've got a bunch of
Mm.
other projects in the queue. And so given the production lead time, at the time, I had reported, okay, we're over halfway through, so hopefully a couple more weeks. But as it turns out, they've actually started printing.
Wow.
They've started printing, yeah. So it's very exciting. So yeah, I am like very very excited. And so I mean, they haven't. It's not finished printing yet. It's kind of like in the middle of the process, but I'm very excited to share the update once they like write back and confirm, okay, it's all printed. So
Yeah.
yeah, super super exciting.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Well, congratulations. That is
Yeah,
such exciting news. Um,
it really is.
like for me as well, because like I've got a deck coming, so I've been this. Do you know it's my first Kickstarter, my
That
very
was your
first
first
one.
Kickstarter?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness, I had no idea.
Yep. That's the first one, first
I took your
Kickstarter that I've.
Kickstarter virginity.
You did indeed. I know you minx. Um, so yeah, this will be like the first time. I mean, I think this is maybe like the longest I've had to wait on a deck, but it's been good. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like that way when you order something on like Amazon's not a good example because you can get same day delivery with most Amazons,
Yeah.
but that way when you order something and it's like maybe a week, it'll be there in a week, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, what? Like for the whole week, you're just like, oh,
Like,
like
oh, we're
it's
yeah,
only six
checking the
days
chat.
now. 6 days. Yeah, you keep refreshing it
Yeah.
to see if it's changed. Do you know what I mean? To see,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, like, but with this, it's a bit more relaxed because there's a bit more of a time frame. But now we're starting to get to that. Do you know what I mean? We're almost there. Um, but it's funny because like you see how when you're talking about like the printing queue and all that kind of thing, like I don't know, like how people have images in their head, right? So see before like I had seen Kickstarter updates and heard you talking about, right, it's in the queue but they've got other stuff to print. Like before that I just imagined like a publisher that makes tarot decks would have like how like you imagine like the newspaper factories where they've got
Oh.
like loads of massive big printers the size of whole rooms that are just firing out newspaper after newspaper. That was kind of the idea that I had in my head. And then when you were like, right, okay, so it's in the queue, but there's some stuff, there's some projects in front of it. I then went to like, I've got some image of like some poor wee old lady sitting with an inkjet printer just printing out card after card after card.
Like punch
And
cards.
Yeah, pretty much. So I know that the truth is there's obviously going to be somewhere in the middle, but it's funny the impression you get and and how that changes. But yeah, so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Let's see what. So somebody, I think it was Mitchell. So hi Mitchell, by the way, it's lovely to see you. So because when I say 6 of Wands, it sounds like sex of wands.
It does.
So I need to be more conscious of. Do you know what I was thinking about randomly the other day? The fact that 6 is the number of the lovers, and like the word sex is 6 in like several languages, I think. So
Okay.
and yet that concludes my thought. That was it. That was as far as my thought went. But I just thought it was interesting that that the lovers was that number, and yeah. Anyway, yeah,
I don't know. I mean, to me, I honestly, I don't hear the accent as much. My because I have some family over in Scotland, and regularly talk to my cousin who's no longer in Scotland. He lives in New York now, but so I don't actually hear the accent that much, but it is true. It definitely sounds like you're saying sex.
yeah. Sorry, guys, but it's usually safe to assume that I'm saying 6, the number 6. I think. I don't think I talk about
Not making it
sex
better.
too much on
Not
this
making it
channel.
better.
I mean, oh, no,
No.
oh dear. Yeah, Mitchell says. um,
We're
what
also adults.
I know. Oh, it's okay. This is not a mature channel. Um, right. I love getting Kickstarter
Yeah.
decks. I tend to fall down a rabbit hole before I know it. I have multiple decks on the way. Then I forget about them, and bam, it's a nice surprise in the mail. Yeah, so like I say, yours was my first, and then I backed Brant's deck, the Moonbaby Tarot, and then so no, those are my only 2 Kickstarters. I've got the New Choice on Indiegogo, the second printing of the New Choice, Tarot de Marseille.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so those are my 3, but yours is the very first, and I think
Oh,
it's the first. It'll be due first. It'll be the first to be here. So
probably.
exciting!
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Deanne. Yeah, everyone's just talking about talking about 6. 6.
It's called Chakra Healing Tarot. I see Scorpio Moon Spirit is asking me.
Oh,
It's called Chakra Healing Tarot.
okay.
Oh, thank you, Kristen. And yeah, it's still
Yeah,
available
there we
for
go.
pre-order there too on the Kickstarter link that Kristen shared.
So can people still get it if they want to?
Pre-order, yes. But just to clarify on that, only the Kickstarter backers will get all the extras that came as part of the stretch goals, of course. For pre-orders, it's the deck itself, unless they want to add on add-ons, of course.
Yeah.
They need a
Cool.
better label for add-ons, because add-on is both a verb and a noun. What's that? The object, subject? I don't remember. Anyway, it is both things. They need a better word.
Yeah. Plus, it makes me think of like computery stuff. Like I'm showing my technological self
Oh,
here.
right. Yeah,
But
like the extensions.
yeah,
Yes.
and like the add-ons in my work are always breaking, and you've got to go in and stop them and then start them again. And yeah, no, you're right. They do. They do need a better word for that.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. So Scott says this is Scorpio Moon Spirit is Scott. So he says that
Scott.
sounds awesome. Thank you, Malumir. Going to look into it right after work. But I don't know why I was having trouble with that sentence. I'm sorry.
Maybe it's your vaccine. It's starting to reach your brain.
Oh, I know. Yeah, so maybe this will be an interesting card slinging session then, won't it?
If you suddenly start acting as if you've been drinking, we'll know why.
I know. No, I see. So for anyone that doesn't know, I had my vaccine earlier on today, so I did. So this was my first vaccination. I had the Pfizer vaccine.
You got Pfizer. Okay.
And yeah. And yeah, I don't feel any different at all. Like I don't even think that like you said to me, you'll probably have a bit of a sore arm, maybe a wee bit of swelling, maybe a bit of a dead arm, but I don't feel any of it. So I'm a bit like, did he actually get
Did
me?
you judge me? Did you feel it? Like, did you feel the prick?
Yeah, it was like a wee scratch. So it was.
Yeah.
It felt like a
Yeah,
wee.
it's not like they're using a large needle. It's pretty small. Some pro tips for for anyone who does still need to get theirs. If you do like an arm workout of some sort, like it doesn't have to be intense, but if you do like some kind of arm workout beforehand, it puts your muscles into healing mode. Like it actually is workouts. Like what they do is they kind of like do micro tears in your muscle. And that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons that it hurts when you get a needle. It's not the actual vaccine, it's the needle like puncturing your muscles, right? So if you already put them into that kind of mode, either before or right after, it puts the muscles into healing mode. And so the pain heals faster. Pro tip.
Yeah. Mitchell Osborne, you sit on a throne of lies. I saw the needle that he took out of that thing, and it was massive. Now it didn't feel like a massive needle, but but when he took the wee cover off it, I was like,
I
is
didn't
that whole
look. I'm
thing
like,
going to go
no,
in my
no, no,
arm?
no, no, no. I didn't look.
But yeah, it felt like a wee scratch, to be honest. So it did. So but yeah, it did. It did look like a pretty big needle to me. Um, Lily is asking, which illustration did you take the most pleasure in creating?
Okay, so I created the deck. So I created the vision, the universes in which they take place, because the how it works is that, well, there's one overall universe and there's 5 worlds within, and I figured out the system of matching up all the chakras to the tarot cards, because there wasn't actually an existing system for it beyond that, which was just number based, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, because I use a 7 chakra system. So I developed all of that. I wrote the descriptions, and then what I did is, and actually I can talk a bit about it, but at the time I was I figured, I have these visions in my head of what these cards need to look like, and I can't make that art myself. So I did a lot of research, and I found an awesome Toronto artist. Her name is Ella Mazur. And she does really magical fantasy art. And in fact, she does like so much cool art around the city too. Like she's done murals. Just this past weekend, she was painting these Toronto in the pandemic has finally been getting on top of its bicycle lane network. And so as part of this, they're putting up these curbs to separate bike lane from the vehicular traffic. And so she actually like painted a bunch of the curbs, and they're like really, really cool art. So anyway, so Ella Major did create the art for the deck. And what the process was is that she would take my descriptions, because I wrote a description for every single card, and she would create a concept, right? So like a really rough sketch of it. And then she would send it to me. I would take a look, and I would look at, because she would usually send me 2 or 3 per card as kind of options for which one most captures what you're going for. So I would let her know whether it was option, concept 2 or concept 3, or this part of concept 1 combined with this part of concept 3. And then she would create an outline draft, because she does all that with pen and ink first. And then she would send that to me, and then I would provide any feedback or any tweaks that were needed, or if it was good to go. And then she would color it all in digitally. And again, I would review it. And if there are any tweaks needed, we would go back and forth. It was really wonderful working with Ella. Just really, incredible artist. She was able to create exactly these images that I had in my head that I just, wouldn't have been able to create myself. So, so that's a very long answer to your question, but I hope that answers your question.
No, that's amazing. Thank you. And Ella has like an Instagram or something, doesn't she?
She
That
does. It's Easy Mazur Art. If someone's able to look it up on Instagram, the handle is EC Mazur Art.
Mazur art. Oh, do you know, I'm got another tab open and everything, but like
I'm
I've got
maybe one of the mods might
loads
be
of
able to look
moderators.
it up.
Yeah, Yeah, I know Deanne's probably already on it if she's still here. So, but yeah, if someone could link that Instagram page in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because she has done such an amazing job. So she has. So yeah, that was the creation process. So I think so is there a particular image that is there a card that you've decided that you like the best? Because you've been working with it for quite some time now, haven't you?
I have this project. Well, it's actually now, it's been over 2 years that I've been working on this, because I started off with several months actually of research and trying to figure out the system, and then developing the vision for the universe and each world and the description. So that took a few months before I could even begin looking for Ella. I was just so grateful that she was willing to work with me, because you're asking an artist to create 78 pieces of art, and it doesn't matter that you're paying them. That's 78 individual images. And actually she created more than that, because she also created the images for the box, for, the guidebook cover, for all of the stretch goals. Like, it's a lot. It really is a lot. And she's, even indicated that she would be open to doing something like that in the future. I'm like, okay, keep it in mind. But like, it's intense. It's a really intense process. She and I worked together for a solid year. We first met right before the pandemic, I guess in mid-January of 2020. And by December, I think 31st actually of 2020, she had finished all the art. So she did it all in a year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And these are the backs, for
Backs. Like, for me, I really wanted backs that are reversible. And that's actually one point. If people see me making weird faces or blinking this eye a lot, I have Tourette syndrome. I'm neurologically atypical. And it just means my neurology is firing a bit differently than it does in a normal neurotypical brain. But the reason I say that is that Tourette often has comorbidities, so other disorders that have similar neurology. And so I do, and one of which is sensory defensiveness. And so it's a weird thing, but if something feels off or something is slightly askew, it will really bother my brain. Like, my brain will be like, ah. So I will say that for tarot card backs, I absolutely have tarot cards that don't have reversible backs. But for my own deck, I really felt like I want a reversible back, just, and I know people really like them, but I just really felt like that would be something that would really work for this deck. So I do love it, because totally reversible. And also it's just magical. She's also reflected each of the kingdoms. If you look closely, she's reflected each of the kingdoms on the back.
Yeah, so talk us through each one.
Yeah, so you can see, so there's the caves, like the entrance to the caves that go into the world of the wands, right? Because they happen in the base, in the caves of a mountain. And this is the sacred mountain. That's where the major arcana are. They're at the top of a sacred mountain in the temple grounds. And then, of course, there's the water here that refers to like the watery palace world of the chalices or the cups. And then, of course, the tree symbolizes both the pentacles, which take place in an enchanted forest, as well as they speak to the tree of life, because the way that I did the chakra system is with a Kabbalistic and chakra overlay approach. Complicated, won't get into it, but relays that, as well as the clouds gets at the suit of swords, which takes place in a kingdom in the sky.
Yeah.
And of course the chakras are on the tree.
Yeah, right enough. So I think I've been having a think about, because I thought it would be good to kind of talk about like kind of our favourite cards and stuff. I've been having a kind of a look through, and I definitely think that the swords really do it for me, because I'm quite a numerological.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. You did it. You got it.
Pfizer.
You got it. I blame it on Pfizer.
numerological reader. So when swords are doing things like stabbing hearts and, you know, when in the Ten of Swords, for example, you know, when people are lying dead on the ground, like I get it, you know, but I just prefer it not to be that way. You know, I prefer a deck that does something a wee bit different to that, and this is definitely one of those. So we've got our Ten of Swords here. So I mean, you know, if you've learned with the Smith way and you're a Smith way through and through, and you like to see that person on the ground with those swords in them, you can still use this. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you can't get anything out of it. You've still got that kind of a, you know, you still get those feels from it, but equally he's not stabbed through the, you know, he's not lying dead on the ground. And it looks to me as though he's in the process of kind of a getting up and moving on,
Yes.
which is important for the tens for me, because tens are about endings and beginnings. So Ten of Swords for me is about, is a part of it is moving on.
Yes, exactly.
And you know, the nine as well. Because like nine, you're talking high mental energy, and I get where the, you know, the nightmares and the anxiety and all of that kind of thing comes from. Like that is definitely an attribute for me, you know. But equally, you know, the Nine of Swords can, you know, that high mental energy can have a really kind of a positive,
Yes, it can.
you know, positive connotations.
Yes.
And we see both in this. You know, we see her, and she does look quite, you know, she looks as though she's in some distress, you know, which is what we normally associate with the nine. But then you know, but you don't look at this card and think, oh gosh, look at that scene. This looks like a really kind of a blissful, beautiful scene to me, you know, and you see that kind of a rainbow bridge going to the next kind of a, oh, sorry, I'm like not sure where I'm pointing, the rainbow bridge going over. So yeah, it's just amazing. So it is. So yeah, those are some of my. So I would definitely say the swords really kind of a is perfect in this deck. And I love the idea of the kingdoms. Sorry, what were you going to say there?
Oh, sorry. I think I saw a message. Someone's just asking to take the question down because it's creating confusion.
Oh, sorry. I'm awful for doing that.
Sorry.
Right, let me see if I have got any comments other than going to please get rid of that question. Sorry, guys. Right, okay. So, oh, right. Stephanie, talking about the vaccination. Stephanie had said I had a sore arm, but that was about it. It was like someone had punched my arm. Yeah, also, and I think Simon says he had the same, but it was the next day, but it was nothing major. Well, I've got my niece tomorrow, so fingers crossed. I'm going to need to have my wits about me, so I am, because she's 3 and she counts how many marshmallows I'm eating and how many biscuits that I'm eating, and if she's not had the same amount, she's quick to pull me up for it. So yeah, she'll run rings around me if I'm out of my game. So fingers crossed, we'll see what happens.
I'm seeing a question from V. Kestrel on whether the artist had any background knowledge of tarot. Not much at all, actually. And you know, and if anything, it was actually a really positive thing. And what she actually told me early on in the process is that she was also deliberately avoiding looking at any tarot cards because she didn't want any of the concepts that she created to be somehow informed or biased by existing tarot cards. She wanted to go completely off of the description that I wrote, which I thought was a very interesting, you know, and self-aware part of her process as an artist.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's quite a good idea as well, because you know, as much as you would try not to, you can't help but be influenced by what you already know.
it's
So
true.
it's being the fool, isn't it? It's that fool experience where you're not conditioned by any any prior knowledge. It's like totally taking a step into a new world. So it's really admirable what she's done. So
I think Stephanie had we did that one. Most challenging card to create, the artwork description. That's a good question. I think, it was interesting because, you tend to start with the suits that come most easily to you. And so I started with the majors, actually, because I just had these images of these sacred temple grounds at the top of a mountain. And so I started with those. And then I think I went to the swords next, and then the wands, and then the chalices, and then the pentacles. And I think it was the pentacles at the time, because part of it, and being a bit vulnerable here, like at the time, this all felt like it was, oh my gosh, is this even going to ever become anything? Like, I'm just this one random person sitting here, like writing these descriptions, and there is such a long journey to go before this could even be in anyone's hands. How am I going to make this a thing? And those are all very pentacle type issues, right? It's very tangible. It's material. It's about knowing, well, it's not like I could pay for the production myself. It's really expensive to pay for manufacturing of anything. And I think I had a lot of fears about it. And so the pentacles in general, I think I struggled with the most. But in the end, it didn't end up being a struggle. I think it was more that I was more afraid of the feeling of working on the pentacles. When I actually started writing them, then it flowed. Having said that, by then I had also written like 4 other suits, so it was flowing a bit better. But I think I put those to the last just because of some of those fears. But when I actually got to it, it did come through for me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There was another question just after that. It just jumped, but it was from, was it Kay, asking about, so do you enjoy Oracle as much as Tarot, and if so, do you see yourself creating an Oracle deck in the future?
I really do love oracles. I mean, I would say that I think my first love is tarot. But I enjoy oracles a lot, and I use a lot of oracles, and I use them for different purposes. Also playing cards as well. I use for example, I've talked a bit in the past about how I do some ancestral work, particularly with my Chinese ancestors. And like there's a lot of cultural practices that I do on a daily and weekly basis, and also a seasonal basis to honor them. But I also in my ancestral work, I also use playing card divination as well as oracle work in part of my communication with them, and also getting guidance from them. I mean, I do have mediumship abilities, but I prefer working with them with oracle because it's frankly, it's less tiring, it's less exhausting. And as for if I could see myself creating an oracle deck, honestly, I think I could. And it's kind of been on the edges of my brain. I mean, I've been so focused on, Chakra Healing Tarot, like bringing this, creation into the world. But I definitely could see myself potentially making something in the future. I think I'd have to figure out how I'd want to structure it, because I'm a very systems type of thinker. So I think I'd want to create some kind of specific system for it. And I'm all about empowerment and healing, and, healing ourselves, because, we all go through so much, and especially people in, the tarot and the divination community. We are a community of people who frankly have been through stuff, right? We are, we're so tuned in and empathic, and so, I really am passionate about helping people learn to heal themselves and transform themselves. So I could definitely see that in the future at some point.
That would be cool. Do you think you would incorporate like the chakras and stuff into it, or?
Possibly. I don't know. It doesn't exist yet, but open to ideas.
Okay, that's quite cool. See, I've often thought about, I say often, I've had like thoughts about it. Not that I would intend to create one. I'm not wanting to give false hope here. But you know, sometimes you just get these wee creative ideas that come through your
Yeah,
brain. Like, see, creating kind of like tarot. You know, tarot's got the ace through 10, so it's
yep,
like works off the 1 through 10 numerology.
yep.
Creating some sort of system like that, but rather than ace through 10, have your 7 chakras. So there'd be like 7 chakras, and then you could maybe have like, I don't know if you'd be able to have it through by elements, or you know, if there would be something else that you would need to kind of layer into it. But yeah, but like
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
something that
exactly. Like something that some kind of system that because I really do believe in working with the chakras. Like as I mentioned, I'm a Reiki master, and I learned a traditional style of Reiki, but it does actually work with the 7 chakra system. Um, and we really do hold so much in our energy bodies. I mean, it's exactly why, like, if you've gone through a loss, you feel heartbreak. Like your physical heart is doing its thing, but then why do you feel this ache? Right, that's your energy body. Same thing with, like, your throat. When you get the lump in your throat, well, there isn't actually a lump of anything in your physical throat, right? But we hold emotions in our energy bodies. So, I really do love the idea of, that's why I created, Chakra Healing Tarot, because it is with that intention of helping people connect with their chakras through the tarot. So I'm saying a chakra healing oracle would be so great. Okay, so apparently by popular demand, I need to start creating a chakra healing oracle.
let's let her get the have a wee rest after getting the Chakra Healing Tarot
Let's at
out
least
first,
get my
guys.
deck finished printed.
Yeah, she needs to at least
But I
put her
love it.
feet up and have a cup of tea before we put her to work again.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a creator. I always have to be creating something, right?
I can see. So I'm sorry if I'm missing people's questions here, but I can see one down the bottom that's just
Oh,
popped
Deanne.
up. Oh, is Deanna
Cracks
asked the
open.
question? See my comment, please. Right, okay. Right, I'm heading
Uh-oh.
to it. I've been told. Right, I'm going to look on the YouTube chat. Oh, I'm on top chat. Gosh.
Ooh.
Oh, it's all going wrong today. Right, where are you, Deanne? Okay, I see a cool smiley, a cool emoticon. I see hello Aspasia. I'm an equal. It's not it. Oh, Malumir, you could make an oracle deck that has cave, temple, chakra tree, etc. to accompany your tarot deck. I
Ooh,
think
that's a
that's
good
the one.
idea.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be very
I
cool.
really do love like the Four Kingdoms thing. Well, I suppose it's 5 kingdoms if you count the
It's 5,
mountaintop.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love that, like that concept, because it just gives the suits a nice element of consistency that goes beyond
Yes.
just their element. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's really kind of a nice to work with, I think.
Yeah.
Um, Lily had asked a question. Let me just find that again. So, do you suggest a method to one or more work on one or more chakras,
Mhm.
or to dive into the map meditation is enough?
I
Right.
think there's all sorts of ways of working with chakras. So I think one of the key kind of ways to do this is you start off with work with one chakra first. And I mean, I don't mean like spend all of your time every day only on one chakra. I just mean start with only working on one chakra at a time. But over time, you will notice there are very important relationships between different chakras. Okay. So this is actually why in the deck, let me find an example here. So for example, all the minor arcana just have one chakra. Oop, there we go. I'm turning it the wrong way. One chakra. And you'll see like the gem shows where the chakra is. So they have one. And that means that that's a chakra that you need to pay attention to. But the majors have 2 chakras. Turn this, or oop. There we go. So this has got the root chakra and the crown chakra. So that means there's an important relationship between those 2 chakras that you need to explore. So and I mean, there will be a guidebook for all of this, but some ways that that you can start tuning into your chakras now is notice when you experience something as you go about your day. Let's just say you're going about your day, you're minding your business, and somebody says something unkind. Notice where in your body that you're feeling it. That might sound strange, but I guarantee you are feeling it somewhere. You're feeling it somewhere in your body. Notice where you're feeling it, because that will give you a clue as to which chakra is being affected by that, and that can give you clues into some of the healing work that you need to do. For example, there were times when I've dealt with some folks who frankly are sexist and don't like a competent person who identifies as a female. Where I would feel that in my solar plexus. And to me, that didn't surprise me, because the solar plexus is about identity and sense of self. And so that's where I would feel that kind of impact. So I encourage you to start doing that. You can absolutely also do meditations and like light healing, where you imagine the light going to a particular chakra and just imagine that's really like bright, juicy colored light. That's another great way to work with your chakras as well.
Cool.
I did see another question.
I was going to highlight this. So Christine has said, I'd love to learn chakras through an oracle deck. I don't know them very well. Are there any existing oracle decks that you know of that you would recommend for that kind of a thing?
I think there are. I think there is a chakra deck that I'm aware of. I honestly don't remember the who created it. I remember they made the color of the crown chakra like a beige-ish color. I own it because when I was going to start creating this deck, I thought, well, let me see what else is out there. It's not one that I've worked a whole lot with. I found like the art was maybe a different style than I might otherwise typically use, but I'm sure there must be oracles out there. But I mean, noted. Okay, now I'm seeing Deanne saying we need that oracle deck. Okay, so taking notes. I will endeavor to keep it in mind. Yeah, put it on your Post-it. You can mail me your Post-it. I'll put it up on my wall.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think if I could answer my own question there. The only oracle deck that I can think of that has anything to do with chakras, and people might not think about this as anything to do with chakras, but the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit, because there's the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit is split into elements. Okay, so you've got a load of different animals, and they all come under, they're set into earth, water, fire, and air. But then you've got 7 mythological.
That's it. Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Sorry. Nancy sorry, I was trying to interrupt. Nancy just got the name.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you, Nancy. There's 7 spirit cards, and they are like mythological creatures, and they are linked to the different chakra points.
Oh, cool.
So I think you've got, so let's see if I can remember them. You've got the phoenix as your root chakra. You've got the sea serpent as your sacral chakra.
Yeah.
Dragon as your solar plexus.
Oh, I like it.
So golden egg is your heart chakra. Black egg is your throat chakra. And I know cosmic egg is your root chakra. What is your third eye? The unicorn. The unicorn is your third eye.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, the thing is, right, this is is it 60 odds, 63 card deck? There's 60 something cards in this deck. So to me, if you were going to do it through an oracle, it's because there's less cards and it gets you more familiar. I would say you as well just, if it's about learning about the chakras, every card in this deck is chakras. So I think that it would be a lot easier to learn that stuff from like this tarot deck rather than going for something like that. But there will be like kind of a smaller oracle decks out there that do the trick.
Right.
What
Oh, I saw
I'm going to. Oh, sorry, on you go.
I think I saw someone make a comment about how they always feel it in their throat because they want to tell someone to F off, but they can't do that. And that's exactly it, right? That often that lump is there's something that you want and need to express that you aren't. And so it's just being held inside. And, and then of course the problem is that it internalizes and, and that doesn't serve us either. But very much have been there, done that. So I definitely understand the experience.
Yeah. Kristen says if I feel hurt, I feel it in my stomach.
Stomach is where the stomach is located is very close to the solar plexus, because the solar plexus is right at the base of your ribs, and so that is the closest to your stomach. So that may be a solar plexus related impact that you're having.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, to be honest with you. If someone kind of kicks me to the ground, they normally do it by attacking me as a person. I think sometimes as well, something I find really difficult is if I feel that someone is being really irrational, and I find it difficult to, argue a point. If I feel as though they're just on a completely different wavelength, or how some people will just say something just to get under your skin, and
Yeah.
there's no logic or
No
point behind
reasoning.
it.
There's no reasoning. Yeah.
So that's something that I find quite difficult.
I saw a question asking about something about mediumship.
Ooh. It's all jumped. Okay. I'm going to look and see if there's any more questions, but what I'm going to do whilst I'm doing this, guys, is I'm going to put this down the bottom just now, because we're almost at 10 o'clock in my time, so 5 o'clock your time, yeah.
Yeah, almost 5.
Yeah. So we're getting to the point where we're going to start doing readings, and we're going to be using the amazing Chakra Healing Tarot to do so. So you guys have obviously you've seen Malumir on my channel a couple of times, and interacted with Malumir and the live chats and whatnot. And obviously I've become really good friends with Malumir. I think you're an awesome person, and it's just always really nice to see you.
Mutual. Yeah.
But what I didn't realise was what an amazing reader Malumir is, and I've kind of gotten really familiar with this because Malumir joins the Zooms for the Mary L study group that I kind of facilitate.
Yeah.
And when it comes to interacting and giving points of view, especially on the readings, Malumir is a real lifesaver sometimes. And it's just I'm always blown away by the stuff that that you come up with by looking at the cards. So I've actually really been looking forward to this bit of it. I don't want to say that to put pressure on you. That's not why I'm saying it. But I've been really, really looking forward to this part of it where we actually get to read together. Because this is something I enjoy doing with everyone, but I'm really looking forward to being able to do this with you. So I'll move my Batman post-its out the way. They've had their time in the.
Yeah, no, I'm really I've been really looking forward to reading with you as well, because I mean it really is mutual. The way that I mean I've watched so many of your readings for other folks, and you just have such a thoughtful and well-informed approach to reading. So I'm just as excited.
Thank you very much. Right, there are a couple more questions that I can see here. I can see Scott's asked a question. I'm going to see, I'm probably better just going through the YouTube chat. So Scott has asked, what chakra would you say comes into play for migraines and headaches?
I mean, medical issues aside, of course, it really depends on where you first start feeling it, or where the actual source of the tension is, because there are basically there are three key chakras that can be related to energy body reactions in the head. I mean, the most obvious is the third eye, because just to be clear, by the way, the third eye chakra is not sitting here in the front of your head. It's actually like located in the center of your brain, because all the chakras are located around your spine, right? So that's the most obvious one. And sometimes that can be because we intuitively know something and we're ignoring it. And the intuition's like, excuse me, okay, fine, if that's how you're going to be. So maybe it could be assigned to, you know, to acknowledge what your wisdom and what your third eye is telling you. The next location could be the crown chakra. So that it's not just about connection to the divine, it's about connection to other, right? To that which is not yourself. So it can mean connection to community, connection to people who are different from you, right? If you're feeling, you know, if you're going through a time where you're really struggling with like a group of people or with specific communities, that can impact your crown chakra. In addition to if you're feeling disconnection from the divine or from the universe. The third place, which might seem surprising and weird, but can happen, is actually the throat chakra, because there are a lot of there's a lot of muscles all in your neck and all throughout here in your jaw and your chin that actually can create headaches. And if you are holding yourself back, you are tensing up that whole space, which can create headaches. So those are some key issues I would recommend thinking about it next time that you experience that. I mean, medical issues aside, obviously.
Cool. Amazing. Okay, Lily says, well done, knowing animal spirit is amazing. I've got it in English. Almost all of my decks are in English. She's saying, so Lily is French, but the essence is more deep in English.
Cool.
Just looking to see. Oh, right, okay. I thought people were suggesting names for this oracle that they're making you make, but it's not.
No,
they're
that's an
about
existing one. Yeah, the so I think chakra wisdom oracle. I think that was the one that I was thinking of, where the crown chakra color it's like a beige color.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, shall we get started on doing some readings then? So we've got our first question there. So if anyone has a question that they want Malumir and I to read for, then please, Stephanie's shown everyone how to do it. So tag and or capital letters, and that highlights it to me so that I can see it. So I didn't talk to you about how we wanted to do this. So we can either do it where, you know, one of us pulls 3 cards and we both read the same 3 cards, or we can pull our own 2 or 3 cards. It's really up to what would you prefer to do, Malumir?
I think it'd be interesting if we pull the same 3 cards, because then, you know, it'll be the same cards and we're just doing, you know, slightly different perspectives and takes on it. Okay. Let's do that.
Cool. Right, well, queens before peens, so I'll let you pull the first card.
Okay, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. Ooh, we got a jumper, guys. We got a jumper. We got a jumper. So we've got the chariot. So Chris, remember, you still have the first prototype, so your chariot chakras will look different. Remember, because this was like the creator #fail moment where when I was writing the descriptions, I wrote in for 5 of the cards, one of the chakras was wrong. Anyway, it's resolved in the actual deck and in the second prototype, but Chris has the first prototype. So I have the chariot here. So Stephanie, what I'm getting here, and also I'll just point out the chakras here are the heart chakra and the third eye chakra. So what I'm seeing here for the chariot for you is that, you know, this is a time when you are really stepping into your own. You are being very decisive, and you are, you know, you might have come through a time actually where it's like you almost felt like, you know, you kind of hit your stride, and now it's like you're trying to figure out how to adjust slightly, right? You're trying to take things to the next level. And so it's possible that you might actually be feeling some mild discomfort in that, right? Maybe being pulled a bit between, you know, what you feel you might really want to do, and lots of ideas that you're getting. You might even be feeling that a little bit overwhelmed in terms of decision making, because I also pulled a contextual card, which is a 7 of chalices, Chris, which is sacral chakra. And so what this looks like to me is you might even be thinking about, okay, I'm a creator. What am I creating next? And where am I taking this? Right. But I will say that it's funny that they're both 7s. And so that really says to me that whatever kind of discomfort or kind of almost like a holding pattern you might feel that you're in now, that is going to change. And it's because of the decisions that you are making and driving forward for yourself. And it is changing, and you are going to really hit that momentum and really bring in for yourself whatever it is that you want to create. And you do have that wide world of options for you.
Amazing. So I've pulled the same cards out of my deck. I've got my Chariot and my 7 of chalices in front of me. So, I mean, yeah, we've got 2 7s there. So 7 for me is, it's like growth from stability. But what do we actually mean when we say that? Well, it's like pushing yourself outside the box. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got yourself to like the first base, and you're making that decision to, right, let's run. It's not enough just to get to first base. We need to keep going, and achieve more. And sometimes that can be really difficult to do. Hence why I always say it's like pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. It can be quite a difficult step to take, because this isn't like an ace or a 2 where it's like you're just starting on something, you've got nothing to lose, and fuck it, let's just go balls to the wall and let that burst of energy. It's fine, if things go wrong, what have you lost? Well, no, actually, because when you're in that 7 space, you've actually already achieved something. You do have something to lose, and that's why it can be a lot more difficult to push yourself out there. So when that Chariot flew out your deck, and it's a Chariot, but if it's going places, it is getting. I mean, and the Chariot and this is flying, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this really makes me think of Plato's Chariot, that allegory or whatever you call it, which is all about kind of a soul searching. It's about getting to know yourself, and just like when we were talking, and when you were saying about, when Malumir was saying about, if someone kind of says something that upsets you or offends you, think about where that hits you. That's a really good tool for like increasing self-awareness. And to me, the tarot is all about the self-awareness. That is kind of the whole point. That's why we come to this thing. It is to increase our self-awareness, and people who are more self-aware to me are more together in general. So yeah, it's that kind of a like soul searching. It's ripping your soul open. It's seeing, what is actually inside of me. What makes me tick. What is the good stuff and what is the bad stuff, and the bad stuff. The positives and the negatives, the light and the dark. And getting to know that stuff and harnessing all that stuff. Equally, and not just letting one horse, because that's what the horses represent in Plato's Chariot. The horses represent the different aspects of the soul, but not letting one horse take the reins. Wow, I'm really going off on, but this was just meant to be a general reading, but we're really getting deep, aren't we? Poor Stephanie is getting absolutely torn a new one here.
Well, I guess it's a very chatty deck, Chris.
It is indeed. It is indeed. So 7 of chalices, so we're kind of looking into that realm of water. So we're talking about emotions, emotional connections. Like we see the sacral chakra. That's right. The orange one, yeah.
You got it.
But the element of water for me, it's like it always has that undertone of the connection to everything outside yourself. So you might think, like, I would associate that to like the crown chakra as well. For me, if you're looking at cups, you're always looking at that kind of it's the internet connection in your computer. It's what connects it to the outside world. If you've got no internet connection, these days your computer's pretty much useless to no one. And that's the whole point in cups and emotional connections, and it's funny. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop in a wee second. I promise I am. But the other day when we were doing a study group, we asked the cards. It was a really random question to ask, but we asked the cards, like, why do we form these connections? You know, why do we? And it was like, you know, we're social creatures and all that. But if you think about, you know, how a computer is nowadays without that internet connection, that's basically us without those connections. That's us without that watery element, you know. And your Seven of Cups is, you know, you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone there. So I feel as though it's a time for making connections with people that you maybe necessarily wouldn't have before, and that can be a scary time. You can be feared that this chariot is going to crash at some point. But it's, you know, like I say, it's important that we push ourselves out there, and we strive to get to that 10, because the 4 isn't the end point, and neither is the 6. You know, we need to get to that, you know, that 10. That's where we're aiming for. So yeah, I feel as though that was really rambly and poor context, but hopefully there's something in all of that ramble that you've managed to make
She
use
says
out of.
that all makes sense.
Cool. Okay. So I think Lily also had a question.
Yep.
So at this new moon, what intentions can we project for all of
Probably us.
for all of
I
us,
bet
right?
it's
Okay.
all of us.
So,
Yeah.
right. So intention setting for the new moon.
So do you want to pull the first one this time?
No,
You and
no,
your
I'll
7
let you.
shuffles. Okay. It'll save time on the 7 shuffles.
Hey, I only do that with the decks in order. Excuse me.
Okay, all right. Just checking.
Sometimes.
Right. Oh wow. Okay. Not messing around here. Okay. So, here we go. So first is the 4 of Wands. Oop, there we go. Sorry. It's all the opposite. 4 of Wands, which is the heart chakra, as well as the world, which is all the chakras. Because by the way, 3 of the cards have all the chakras. The Fool, the World, and the Wheel. And so what I'm seeing here is these are intentions, you know, socially, there's been so much happening in the world. I mean, there has just been so much, and it can be easy to feel kind of triggered and shut down. But you know what this card is talking about is the need for, you know what, you can still feel free and expansive while also creating a little bit of structure for yourself. Maybe you are creating a new ritual for yourself. Maybe you're getting back to a ritual that you might have set aside for a while. Maybe it's time to get back to that and notice where you're experiencing the joy in it. Don't do it for the sake of, I'm going to do this ritual because it's the right thing to. No, no, no. Choose something that actually brings you a feeling of joy. And Isabel, sorry, I'm having a cat mom moment. Isabel, no, you got to let him eat his dinner, okay? She's the little one. She tries to eat the bigger one's dinner because it's much tastier than hers. She's on diet food. It's a long thing. Cat mom life. So, you know, but create or find. And the thing is, this could be anything. Okay. So I'm suggesting a ritual just because, you know, a lot of folks in this community enjoy having spiritual practices. Maybe it's a card pool a day. Maybe it's something that's less spiritual. Maybe you make yourself a cup of tea or coffee or water and you sit down and you actually don't stare at your phone the whole time and you just kind of sit. Maybe you journal. Whatever it is, it's important that for this new moon to set the intention of creating that space and time for yourself to experience some joy, to experience a little bit of pleasure. There's nothing wrong with pleasure. Okay. And that might sound like a funny thing to say, but I think, you know, a lot of us, again, in the tarot community have had past experiences, maybe with, say, religions or cultural beliefs where pleasure was seen as wrong, right? Or it was seen as somehow a sin. And so we've all got these guilt hangups. And so this is about breaking free from that. Isabel, seriously. While also creating space for yourself in a new way. You're basically reclaiming your joy and experience of pleasure by creating a new practice or a new ritual or revisiting one. Okay, so I think the idea is that try to make it a regular thing that you're doing in a structured way. And then that's where the structure comes in. So it's not just a thing to do like, once. Try to do this, whether it's a weekly thing or just at some kind of regular interval over the course of this moon cycle. And that will really serve you and help to more fully align you with yourself. Like, that feeling. Think of a time when you were doing something that you enjoyed and it just totally felt, your whole self was like, yes. That moment, do something that helps you to feel that, because the more you do that, that will help you to feel more connected with your whole self and will really also help to align your energy body within yourself. Sorry, I talked for a long time.
No, that's absolutely fine. I think that after my ramblings on that last reading, it's absolutely fine. What I would say about, so I really kind of resonate with what you were saying about the kind of experience, like give yourself the chance to experience those kind of the pleasure and all of that kind of stuff, because what I see in the Four of Wands and then the World, it's, to me, that's telling us to set manageable goals. See if you are going to come into this new moon and your intention is world peace, or some big massive thing that, I mean, really, we can make a wee dent in it maybe, but setting goals that we know that we're not going to achieve, that's not what we want to aim for here. We want to set goals that are manageable. And if there's nothing wrong with having like big goals, that's, I'm not saying don't, but make sure that they're manageable and break them down into pieces. Have like your, like, to me, the four, and the from the numerologically speaking, the four is like that's like your interim target. So the four is like, it's something manageable. It's a small, you're breaking it down into bite size. You're not just saying, right, I need to achieve the world. You're saying, right, well, let's aim for the Four of Wands first. Let's aim to actually get somewhere and feel validated. And from there, we might set some more goals, or we might go for it from there. But set small, manageable goals, interim targets. It's all about that. And treat yourself, if you get to that Four of Wands, if you get to that interim target, treat yourself for it. Do you know what I mean? But like Malumir was saying, let yourself experience those pleasures. So I'm going to relate this to myself, right? I am getting married in January, and I want to lose a decent chunk of weight for when I get married. Now, if I say to myself, and I'm just going to pull a number out there here, right? If I say to myself, right, 5 stone, I want to lose 5 stone, which is, you guys speak in pounds, don't you? So, oh gosh, what's that quickly in pounds?
Is it 14 pounds?
Yeah,
Is it
14 pounds
no.
to 14 pounds to a stone. So
it is 14. Okay.
So is it 70 pounds?
Oh my God, math. I worked a whole day. I don't want to do math now. No. Okay. So wait, how many stones did you say? 5.
5. If we're talking 5, then I'm sure that's
5
70.
times 10 is 50. 5 times. Okay, so yes, that would be 70. Okay. Oh, so my God, don't lose 70 pounds. Oh my God, you'll be way underweight.
I'm not saying, well, I won't be. Believe you me, I won't be. But if let's just pull that as a nice even figure out there. Now, if I say to myself right now, I need to lose 70 pounds, go, and I just leave it at that, I'm probably going to fall off the wagon. I'm maybe going to get about 10 pounds in, and then it's going to be like, oh, I could get a Domino's pizza. But if I set myself small, manageable targets, so if I kind of reward myself for every stone or every half stone, so every 7 or 14 pounds, if I maybe set an interim target, so let's say my interim target is 2.5 stone, which would be 35 pounds, then, it's making it just makes it feel that much more manageable, and it makes you so much more likely to succeed. So that's it from a kind of from a weight loss perspective, which is how I relate to that. So you guys can, everyone can relate that to their own thing and what they're aiming to do, but because I'm conscious that I quite a lot of the time I speak in, analogies and, sometimes I feel as though it's quite hard to relate what I'm saying to real life, but so that's a real life example of the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And that's what those two cards make me think of. So that's their intentions for the new moon.
Although, you know, metaphors are actually quite powerful, because if anything, we actually have a much easier time, because metaphors are basically a form of a story, right? It's basically creating a story. And we tend to better understand stories and metaphors and remember them better than we do just, I'm sure lots of people don't remember, some boring, chapter they read in a textbook ages ago, but I bet you everyone remembers, a really cool story and demonstration that a teacher did of a complex concept, right?
Yeah.
So I like your analogies and metaphors.
Right, that's fine. So the next one is from Kristen. Now, Kristen's, we've got like an either or here. So she says, can I either get a reading about my Oracle deck or about my caring obligations to family members? So I mean, I don't. Are you particularly drawn to either one of those two, Malumir?
Let me, Kristen, do you mind if I ask the cards which one, or is there one that you really want to know more about and that's really burning more a hole in your mind?
We're on like a 10-second
I know,
delay.
I'm like staring.
Why don't you ask the cards
Corn?
in the meantime? What they
Go
should
for it.
not go for it. So
Let the cards decide. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, okay, because I kind of have a feeling of which one is, oh my God, we have another jumper. So, Kristen, as funny as this sounds, I'm going to say that it's possible that in your, okay, so I'll back up a bit. Neurologically, our brains are super processors. Okay, so they really how do I put this? Lots of things that may not seem connected are in fact connected in our minds. Okay, and what I'm actually getting from the cards is I think that in your mind that these two issues, that there are some connections here, right? And I mean, that's not surprising. Coming up here, we've got the 8 of Swords, right? So there's sacral chakra. And what's interesting about that is that, I mean, sacral chakra, that's all about creation, right? That's about our fundamental creative ability as people. And every single person has some kind of creative ability. We all create something. We create a life for ourselves, right? That is creation. We create food to eat. We create the relationships that we have. We create our daily, habits. We create all of that. But when I see this 8 of Swords, it's telling me that I think, what's coming across here is that there's a whole lot going on right now for you mentally, right? This suggests that there's a lot of, whether it's bouncing back and forth or like cycling through the sense of feeling an obligation to care for some folks who need it, or who, are expecting it. As much as you are perhaps feeling a little bit trapped or limited in terms of the time that you have to spend on an oracle deck, as well as possibly some doubts that you may be having about it. Okay. And so looking at that in terms of what you can do for yourself about these, I get the Knight of Wands. So I'll show you Knight of Wands. Oop. Knight of Wands. So this is related to the solar plexus chakra. Okay. And what I'm seeing here is that when it comes to your deck, it's create it, right? Create it. Go after it. There might be some shadow work that's involved for you as you work on this deck. And I could speak from personal experience. Creating a deck, you are creating a spiritual implement, and you will grow, you will face growth and personal development work as a part of it. And so what I'm seeing here is that there will be a bit of shadow work for you involved in as you go after this. But going after this is also such a key part of what you're about. Okay, there is something that is really important for you about your personhood in creating this deck and bringing it into the world. And you do have the ability to do it. There's a lot of energy, both within you and from outside of you, that is supporting you to do it. And it's a little way off yet, right? It's going to feel, given your other responsibilities, it might feel like it's a long road. And here we have the 10 of Wands. Okay, so it might feel like it's a long road, but if you look at this, it's funny because I hadn't pulled this yet and I was getting all these hits about shadow work. This person is climbing up out of the darkness, darker part of a cave, and is moving toward this door that's filled with like this light. Okay, this mystical light. And so you will get there. It might just feel like it takes a while, but you will get there, and you're going to bring yourself to a new place of groundedness and confidence and healing through it. So Chris, that was 8 of Swords, Knight of Wands, and 10 of Wands.
Okay, brilliant. So what I get from those cards, Kristen, and again, I would echo what Malumir said about the connection between the things. I think maybe the feelings that I'm getting are maybe verging slightly more on the the creating the oracle side, but I think everything is linked. So we see the 8 of Swords there, and the sacral chakra is energized. So that person wants to create, but they've got all these swords around about them. Now, when we think about the 8 of Swords, and when we talk about it, and when we interpret it, we quite often say that, like, we see it and say, well, that person can, they can just pull free, or they can just kind of move a wee bit, just shimmy out of them swords, it'll all be fine. They can get out. They just need to convince themselves that they can. Quite often, what we don't think about is, well, right, okay, but those swords are connected to that person. That's their thoughts. That's the things that they've got going on. Maybe it's not quite as easy as just shimmying out and moving on. Maybe they need to take those swords with them. And all of a sudden it becomes a wee bit more of a difficult task. And we see it in that 10 of Wands as well. The Knight as well. The Knight. Sorry, you're like, what? So see, when you look at the Knight, we actually get almost a similar. A similar image there, and I know that this isn't how we interpret the Knight of Wands, but if you look at the small hole that we see in the cave, the small opening, it's probably quite easy enough for our Knight there to maybe like get a wee kick up on the horse and move herself out of that small opening. But remember, the horse is just as much a part of the Knight as what the Knight herself is. So if she can't get out with her horse, then maybe it's best that she finds another way about it. And then turning to the 10 of Wands, again, we're getting, we're trying to do a lot. She's carrying all 10 wands up the stairs at the same time, and I always get visions of myself try to carry the 2 cups of tea upstairs at the same time, and guaranteed every time I'll spill because I can't be trusted. But yeah, like, it's trying to do so much at once, and I feel as though the advice, the lesson, that what those cards are all screaming is, it's not an all or nothing. It is not one or the other. It's not you can either create your beautiful project, which, by the way, I don't know if you've seen it, Malumir, but the Oracle deck that Kristen is creating is amazing. The work that she's doing is absolutely amazing. She's incorporating the runes into it.
Amazing. Oh, I feel like I have seen photos. Of this. Yes.
Yeah. But it's not one or the other. It's not like you need to make a choice between the two. It's like don't think about it as you need to do all of the creation part and or all of the kind of the caring obligations that you have, you know. Break it down, you know. So if you can be like, right, okay, I need to go and do, I've got this obligation to this person, that's going to take up however long of my day, you know. Don't think of it as I also need to create 50 cards. Again, just pulling a number out there. Think of it as, right, well, if I can get one card designed on Saturday and I can do what I need to do for that person, you know, that all of a sudden it just feels so much more manageable, and you're still slowly but surely, you know, doing what you need to do. You're letting that kind of a creative self out. I feel as though you're 10 of wands there. Yeah, she's managing with those 10 wands. She absolutely is. And that, you know, that's a credit to you and how you've managed thus far. But notice that it's the root chakra that's energized there. It's the root chakra that's getting the hell worked out of it, and that's. And Malumir, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's our, you know, our safety. You know, it's our base, it's our groundedness. You know, if your root chakra's gone, then you know it's pretty hard to feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
In your material world. That to me is how I understand that. So yeah, you're managing just now, but what is the price that you're going to have to pay if you keep going at it how you're going at it? So break it down into smaller manageable pieces, kind of what we were saying in the last reading, and maybe just find a different way to go about it. Okay. So yeah, I think that's what I've got to say about those cards.
But I think you'll definitely be able to manage it, Kristen. It's about, I guess, pacing yourself, right? And that's what I was getting at with it's a long road, but pace yourself with it. You know, I'm a runner. I was not really a runner before the pandemic, but haven't had other options for things I might normally do. And I don't do any like super long runs or anything, but I know people who are ultra marathon runners. And by ultra marathon, I mean they run like ridiculous distances, like 100 kilometers. Like, to me, that's wild. That's a lot of hours. They run for 10 or 12 hours in a row. Like, also I would get bored, but you know, I mean, power to them. Like, so much respect for being able to run for 10 or 12 hours. Like, I could not run for 10 or 12 hours. But, you know, I've asked some of them, well, how do you do that? And the thing is that they don't sprint. You can't sprint. You can't go super fast for 10 or 12 hours. Like, you'll literally fall over and die. Our bodies are not designed for that, right? And so what they do is that they'll like run for 5 minutes, walk for 1 minute, run for 5 minutes, walk for 1 minute, or they'll run at a really slow pace for a couple of hours, and then, you know, walk for maybe 10 minutes, run at a slow pace. The point is, like, we're not designed to do a really fast, really long endeavor, right? So at a fast pace. So pace yourself, take your time, but you will get there, and you will feel so confident and so good when you do, because you'll have done these things that both matter a lot to you.
Cool. Kristen says thank you. I think we've got Debbie at Aquarius Owl next. Would love a general read.
All right. Oh, we're avoiding the 7 shuffle again.
Are you happy to keep pulling?
I'm totally fine to.
No, that's fine.
I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I was like, yeah, I have this friend who, who shuffles the cards 7 times. But apparently they know someone who likes their cards shuffled 8 times before they begin. So.
Right, okay. The reason that I do, the 7 riffles to me is what 7 riffle shuffles. It's got to be like decent riffles, you know, and that to me perfectly randomizes a deck, because I know that, like, you know, it's however the cards come up is how they're meant to come up. But see, if I've taken a deck from being in order, I've shuffled it, and then I get like you know, the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Emperor, that is going to drive me bonkers. So it is, and I'm
Fair.
not going to be able to give a proper read just because about 75% of my brain is telling me you've not shuffled it right. Do you know what I mean? And then the other wee part of my
Yeah,
brain
then you get
is trying to work
distracted. Yeah, yeah.
overtime, trying to do the read. So I need my decks to be properly randomized, and once I know that they are, then it's fine. They can come up in whatever order they want. But yeah, that's why I do it, because to me that does perfectly randomize them. There is method to it. It's not just because I like the number 7 or anything like
Oh
that.
no, for sure. I shuffle a few times, but then I don't necessarily always pull from the top. I pull, like, I'll shuffle through the deck until I feel, oh, that's the card, and
Okay.
I pull. Yeah, I pull that way. Um, and I just saw someone was saying, Aspasia Rising, I used to run 4 miles a day, 6 days a week, felt great, it was hard in the body. I will say I did, you know, after I first started running for a few weeks, I was starting to have some knee issues. So I went to see a physio who specializes in running. Best decision I ever made. She actually told me to run differently. Like, I changed how I ran. Like, I changed my gait. It's like someone telling you to change how you walk. It was really weird, but it worked, and I haven't had any injuries since. So caught it in the bud. So just as a complete aside. But anyway, sorry, Debbie. Okay, general read. First card that comes up is the Empress. Let's see if I can do this time. Oh, there we go.
Let me
Empress.
actually see, since you're holding up the cards, I might as well make you.
Oh,
There we
there we
go.
go. Okay, so this is the Empress, and you can see it's the throat chakra and the third eye chakra. So what this is getting at to me is, and I don't know if this is something that maybe you've been holding back on a little bit, or maybe something that you've been starting to explore, but in terms of starting to share more and I wouldn't say it's about being more open. I'm getting that it's more about sharing more about your intuitive and spiritual gifts, right? Whether it's sharing more in terms of tarot reading or oracle or whatever it is that you do. And maybe it's something that you've been thinking about doing, but that there's been maybe something it feels like it's been holding you back a bit. You know, something that keeps coming to mind is Binah, as it relates to the Kabbalistic tree of life. And there's a lot in there about, there is a lot of stability there, because, you know, as a 3, you know, if you build a tower of 3 things, that, you know, if the 3 sticks, it's actually very strong. There's a lot of power, a lot of strength there. But that whole world within the tree of life, it also has a lot of shadow, right? It's a lot of association with, you know, like the dark mother or the dark goddess related to that world. And what I'm getting here is that, you know, you may be considering, or you may have been holding back in terms of allowing your what you see just to come out. And that's the words as they're coming to me. It sounds like a weird way of saying it, but I think that you perceive in a lot more detail and a lot more fully and more accurately than I think some folks in your life give you credit for. And I think there's been a part of you that's known that, but has maybe also been a little bit afraid to acknowledge that. This doesn't mean that we need to like blow through the gates and like burn a bunch of bridges or anything, but it does mean that to start expressing to yourself and start acknowledging to yourself when you are getting those insights, to communicate it to yourself, right? Because, you know, it sounds like a funny thing, but I think sometimes we just shut ourselves down, right? Like we're brought up that, you know, oh, you're just imagining that, or oh, you know, especially as, you know, for anyone who has been raised as you know, non-dominant in any way, we've been told to be silent. We've been told just, you know, to keep it all to ourselves. And this is all coming through really strongly. And so this is a time for you to heal that relationship with yourself. on this. And if you do have any kind of relationship or any practices related to the Dark Mother, to the Dark Goddess, to explore that a bit and to ask for that healing to help you start acknowledging and showing appreciation to yourself for your own insights, because you are just so powerfully intuitive. And I've never even met you. I don't think I've ever talked to you except in the chat. And it's clear that you are extremely powerful when it comes to spiritual and intuitive insights. And so if there's something that you need to allow yourself to express, and I pulled another card, got the King of Chalices, which again is throat chakra. So, I mean, the universe is being really clear here about you need to express what you're seeing to others, to yourself. But it really is time. Anyway, sorry, I've talked for a really long time, Chris. Sorry.
No, I was really enjoying it. So yeah, so I'm just trying to kind of put the two cards together. So I totally agree with what you were saying about the Empress. I think the read that you got for the Empress was amazing. With those two chakra points. So to me, they are a really cool combination, right? Because I see, and again, you be able to correct me if my understanding's off, but the third eye chakra is its input. Do you know what I mean? It's you sensing the world around about you. There's information coming in to you via the third eye chakra. The throat chakra to me is output. Do you know what I mean? It's you expressing what you're taking in. And I think quite often what you perhaps might see with people is they might have one or the other, but not both. Okay, so some people will be able to perceive a lot. Some people will be able to pick up on, and my top's doing something funny. I don't know if you're seeing that.
Yeah.
That is really right.
Stripes on television.
Right, that's not so bad.
That's slightly better.
Sorry if I've given anyone a headache. I'm really sorry. Right, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah, so
We were talking,
some people can perceive a lot, some people take in a lot, but they find it really hard to process and express that, or find some outage, find some way to kind of take that energy and actually put it out there, and like if you've got a system that's all input and no process and output, I mean, it's just a black hole. Do you know what I mean? It's like not a black hole. It's destruction. It's destroying everything. Everything's going in, but nothing's coming out. Equally, if you've got something where a situation where the output, the throat chakra is energized and it's constantly on the go, but there's nothing coming in, then that's a different kind of person altogether, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? The point that I'm making is you've got the perfect balance of both there. Okay, you've got the perception, you've got everything coming in, and you can actually process that and express yourself. And that is, I'll echo what Malumir said. That's an amazing thing to have, and that's a real credit to you, Debbie. Malumir, I think you were kind of touching on this, or the Empress is that really kind of so we get this, and it kind of comes back to what I was saying about the two, what I was saying about the two chakra points. We kind of especially when we come into tarot, and let me just speak. So, wow. What is happening here? This is what's happening. I've got all this information coming in, but I'm struggling to. Pfizer's totally kaput my throat chakra. Yeah, I'm going to take a moment and try and just collect my thought. So I was going to talk about Corvin in Corvin's Tarathon segment, which was about going beyond the binary. Okay. I personally, I'm one of these people who, when I first started kind of understanding and getting into tarot, it did help me a lot to think about masculine and feminine in terms of active and passive.
Mhm.
But your Empress is a big, massive middle finger to that concept,
Yeah.
because your Empress is sitting there and saying, all right, okay, so I'm female, so I must be passive then, yeah. Well, the Empress is she's the creatrix. She creates, a very, very active component to the, if you want to call it the feminine archetype or whatever, a very active side to the sacred feminine or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not all about active and passive. Your Empress is one of your more, I would argue, one of the most active and one of the most impressively active cards in the deck. You know, so I just that was something that came to me with that. Um, your King of Cups, that was the King of Chalices. That was the other card that
That's
came
right.
up, wasn't it?
That's right.
So, like you said, you've got that throat chakra coming out there. The King of Cups to me is about negotiation. So now I'm just going. So like I'm thinking, like, is there something going on? Because like Empress, and the Empress is like kind of always strikes me as a kind of a parent type card, as does the King of Chalices. So I feel as though these cards are speaking quite strongly to you as as a mother figure. Um, Maybe not just literally, but to you as that kind of a nurturing force, Debbie. Okay, and it's talking about your ability to sense things and perceive things about your maybe your kids, or maybe the people around about you that you represent that nurturing archetype for. um the King of Cups is like negotiation. It's the diplomat. It's about being able to kind of use all of that stuff that I was just rambling about, not very eloquently, but rambling about nonetheless. And it's been able to kind of calm a situation down. It's been able to kind of find the middle ground for people. It's solving problems, solving disputes, all of that kind of a thing. So that is what to me that's what those two cards are talking about. It's talking about you as a mother, and as a mother archetype to those around about you, and you're having to sort something out. And I'm pulling another card just for a wee bit more info. It's funny because we've got the throat chakra again. We've got the Three of Wands.
The universe is like, hello.
Yeah, it's like, how
And it's
dare
another
you
three.
pull another card? Malumir's cards were
And
just
it's
fine.
another
Thank you
three,
very much. I know. I
right?
know. Yeah, definitely. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I've got anything more to say about that. And I'm sorry, I wasn't able to really say what I wanted to say. I think my own throat chakra took an absolute dent there, so it did. But yeah, wow. Let us know what you think, Debbie. Let us know what you think about that.
And just Chris, to build off something that you said there, I think so Debbie, I see that you were typing that about how it's eye-opening for you because there are things that you've kept to yourself about things that you see or that because you've been afraid of what people would think, and letting people know about your practice, your tarot practice is you dipping your toe in. And I think that the King of Chalices and Chris's idea about negotiation kind of gets to that, right? Because it doesn't mean that you need to wear clothes that are all like tarot cards and be like, I do tarot. Like, you don't necessarily need to do that, right? It can be about choosing your moments, choosing your people, right? And negotiating that kind of how you open up and how you express yourself, right? It's like the idea of tact, right? When you're negotiating, it's all about tact and how you say things and who you say what to and how you position it, right? And so I think that the wisdom coming through in terms of how you express yourself and open up is to do it with wisdom, right? It doesn't mean that you have to tell everybody. If there are people that you know will like just say unkind or unhelpful things, well, you don't need to tell them. It's none of their business anyway. You can tell them if you want, as you know, if you're comfortable that, well, it's not going to matter. There was a point when you know, in my healing journey, that I started deliberately telling people who know me for a little bit, but I had never opened up about the fact that I had mediumship abilities. And I figured that if I told them that they would like, I wanted to, it was a bit of a filter, see who stays, who goes. But I was comfortable and ready for that, right? And there were definitely some people who were just like, oh, and then I never heard from them again. So it happens, but you have to be ready for that. So if you're not quite ready for that, use your judgment, use tact in choosing who you tell what and when. But the idea is to still use that tact and still tell them and still express yourself. So I think that that's what kind of hit me, Chris, when you mentioned the negotiation piece.
Yeah, definitely. It's about like kind of knowing when to, you know, the question is about whether to act or not. And I can see that Debbie's made a comment here about, oh, where was it?
Got to speak up, apparently. That's what it says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that. And yeah, I even think like that three of wands that I pulled out at the end there, you know, like I was saying earlier on about how the three is that kind of a burst of energy, you know, and it is, you know, linked to the throat chakra, you know, it's that kind of a right, you know, it's Diana Ross, isn't it? I'm coming out. I'm saying I'm pinning my colours to the mast. It's happening, whether you like it or not. You know, it's just boom, there it's there. It's done. It's said. There was something else that came into my mind when you were speaking there, and I think it's gone now. Oh, that's annoying, but never mind. That's okay. Oh,
it's going to bother your brain now, isn't it?
it really is. It's going to distract me so much.
You'll come to you when you're not trying to remember it.
Oh, I know. So let's see if we've got. I think that was. I don't know if we had any more questions. Does anyone else have any questions that they want to ask? Because we've still got like about 10 minutes until we would usually finish up. So if anyone's got any questions they want to ask, then we could probably take one more. So capital letters or tag me at Elemental Cartomancy with your question.
I really like.
Anything, let me know.
Oh, sorry. I really like the example Aspasia Rising has in the chat about Queen Elizabeth I took care of England, protected what she loved, was an awesome strategist and powerhouse, #Empress.
Yeah.
I like that.
Just having a wee look through the chat to see if there's anything that we've missed and not picked up on. Yeah, people are talking about the Seven Ripples. Right, okay. Well, I know that there's a bit of a delay, so I'll talk slowly, just in case we all of a sudden get a question that bursts out onto the page. But I do want to say thanks to everyone who's here, you know, for coming and keeping us company. Thank you so much for all your amazing questions. And of course, Malumir, thank you so much to you for coming on with me again.
Always a pleasure. I love hanging out and talking with you.
Thank you. And it's been amazing, you know, working with. It's not every day you get to work with someone's deck with the actual person, you know.
It's true.
So it's pretty cool. So it is to be able to do that. You know, I don't think I'm seeing anything else. So we'll maybe leave it there then. So I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. Have you got any kind of a plans for over the weekend, Malumir?
I do. It's my birthday weekend this weekend, actually. That's why I'm taking off tomorrow and Monday. So my husband and I are going to go kayaking, which will be a lot of fun. We don't have kayaks, but there's a rental place near one of the rivers that's in Toronto, because Toronto has a couple of rivers. So we're going to cycle to get there because we don't have a car. And still honestly don't really feel safe taking transit. right now. But so we're going to cycle there, and then we're going to kayak, and that'll be so much fun. There will obviously be cake and also cookie Sammys, because there's this place in Toronto that I love. And I'm not even a huge cake person. Like, I'm more of a pie person. But the cake from this place changed my mind about cake, and I actually love this cake. So we're getting fancy cake and these cookie sandwiches. Okay, these cookie sandwiches are ridiculous. First of all, they're literally this big. Like, they're almost as big as my head. But then they fill them with actual buttercream. So, like, they're huge. Anyway, so there will be lots of that and good food. And then we'll do like a Zoom chat with my cousin in New York, whom I'm really close to. So that'll be fun. And then a couple of phone calls with friends. So yeah, just a fun long weekend, and hopefully it'll be really nice. The weather will stay nice, so we can enjoy lots of time outside. Oh, thank you for the birthday wishes.
Well, that sounds amazing. And that's so much. My weekend pales in comparison to that. I can't even remember what I'm doing at the weekend now. Yeah, no, I've got my niece tomorrow. 'Cause I don't work a Friday. And yeah, I think it's just kind of the usual weekend. I'll probably end up doing. Oh no, do you know what we're going to do? We are going to do date day on Saturday. I think we're going to go to the cinema for the first time
Oh, that's
since before
fun.
COVID.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so yeah, I'm doing something. I've just got a bit of a mind blank. But yeah, I'm so looking forward, because I think we're going to go for dinner, and we'll go to the cinema. I was supposed to look up what I wanted to go and see, actually, and I've not done it yet. So maybe I'll do that after this. And
You definitely should do that, especially before you fall asleep from the Pfizer.
yeah, true. Oh,
Yeah,
look
I
here.
mean, what's it like to be able to go and do things? We still can't do that up here. I think Kay had to leave the chat, but things are just starting to open back up here tomorrow, but it's not everything, and it's very limited types of things. So like, my hair is up in this like really messy bun because it's so long, because I haven't had a haircut since like last September. So tell me what it's like. I'm gonna live vicariously through you.
Oh gosh. So obviously it's still masks. Like we
Of
still
course,
wear masks, kind of
of course.
all the time. To be honest, the Glasgow only went back down to level 2 last weekend, on
Mm.
Saturday there, and I've not actually had anyone in the house. Gosh, that's a main road right there. So, and it's a particular main road where, like, your boy racers, people like to zoom up and
Oh,
down it,
yeah,
even though
yeah.
it's a 30-mile-an-hour road. So
You couldn't hear it
yeah.
though. Couldn't hear it.
Oh, could you not? Oh, there was a
No,
beeping. There was like cars beeping at each other.
no, couldn't hear it.
So what was I saying there?
About it, everyone's wearing masks. Glasgow just went down to level
Yeah,
2. I'm not sure what
that's
level
right.
2
Yeah.
means, but it sounds like a tiered approach.
So level 2 is where you can have, I think it's another 2 people in your house. Kids
Oh
don't
wow,
count.
okay.
Kids under 12, I think, don't count. But I can now have my friends, like,
Really?
my niece's mum and dad. I can have
Mm.
them in my house. We can watch. We watched the 3 Lord of the Rings and then 2 of the Hobbit films, before everything went into lockdown again. So we've got
Yeah,
one more Hobbit film to watch, and we can finally watch it. We can finally watch Battle of the Five Armies.
yeah.
So we need to do that. But yeah, it's good. But I haven't really fully taken advantage of it yet. I did have my first
Right.
piano lesson in person since for
Oh
a
yeah,
year
you
and a
told me.
half
Yeah,
before COVID. So
it's amazing.
um, yeah. But anyway, that was just a wee random. I can see that lovely Jen from Jen's Balanced Tarot's popped in right at
Hey
the tail
Jen.
end of it. So hi Jen, it's lovely to see you. And for everyone who is still here with us in the chat, Jen, I'm just going to tell everyone this, Jen, because I messaged Jen through the week because she put up a video and it was our May deck haul. And she was showing a particular deck. I can't quite remember at this point which one it was, but she said it's so freaking cute. And I thought I rewound it literally 3 times because I could have swore that Jen said it's so fucking cute. And I was like, Jen doesn't say things like that. I was like, I need to check. And I had to listen to it a couple of times, but she didn't. She said it's so freaking cute. But it really, once I realised it actually really made me chuckle, and it made me chuckle my reaction to it. I was like, oh, Jen's not allowed to say bad words. But yeah, so everyone go and watch that Jen's May haul video, because if nothing else, then you'll get a good laugh out of it for that bit. But there's some interesting decks in there. Anyway, thank you so much to everyone who's been here. Thanks so much, Malumir, for being here again. I've
so
thoroughly
welcome.
enjoyed your company. You've
Same.
kept me going despite Mr. Pfizer messing with my brain. It's been an absolute pleasure. So everybody, I hope that you all have an amazing weekend. Take care, and I shall see you at some point soon, no doubt.
Bye, everyone.